According to the National Wildlife Federation, scientists have concluded that most of the global warming is due to the burning of coal, oil, and gas, which affects the atmospheric greenhouse by building up more greenhouse gases. Fossil fuels such as oil, coal, and natural gas are high in carbon. As a result, the atmosphere thickens and more greenhouse gases and more heat is held in. The CO2 is the biggest factor responsible for global warming. The main threat to polar bears is the loss of its sea ice habitat due to global warming. Polar bears are being impacted by global warming. Population sizes are decreasing and swimming conditions are becoming more dangerous. Because sea ice platforms are moving farther apart and there are fewer opportunities and insufficient food. U.S. Geological Survey projects say that two-thirds of the polar bear's population will disappear by 2050. Because of shorter ice freeze time, the hunting season becomes shorter, in which seal pups are born. As a result, the average bear weight has dropped by 15%, causing reproduction rates to decline. Due to the large gaps between water and ice, swimming conditions are hazardous. As a result, the biologists discovered drowned polar bears. The reduction in ice platforms near productive areas for the fish that seals eat affects the nutritional status and reproduction rates. According to J. F. Manry, who wrote the Canadian Journal of Zoology, polar bears are mammals that reproduce sexually. They reach maturity between the years of 3 and 5. The reproductive season typically begins in April and ends in June each year. After fertilization occurs, egg implantation doesn't happen immediately. It happens at the end of September, which is when a bear's body is fully prepared to get through hibernation and sufficient body weight. Once implantation happens, gestation lasts roughly 3 months, and they welcome offsprings, usually between December and January. The whole process of gestation and delayed implantation takes around 8 months. The polar bear's white fur and thick skin are the main dominant phenotypes. It will be rare to find bears without these traits. The environment won't allow them to live with these conditions, so they would die very fast. Also, bears have N2O. This helps the body stay warmer. It's a key trait for survival. According to the article, genetics helps Arctic polar bears survive winter without hibernating. Polar bears have almost 4 inches of fat to keep them warm, along with the fur. There is a process in almost all animals to regulate normal state called homeostasis. The body temperature of a polar bear is the same as a human's, but polar bears have to be in the Arctic climate. Temperatures can go as low as 70 degrees below zero. It is important for the polar bear to have enough fat and a lot of energy and for enough warmth. Researchers also say that polar bears have genetic adaptation that helps them convert food into energy in extreme Arctic weather without any hibernation. Black bears and polar bears hibernate during the winter while only pregnant polar bears hibernate. The rest of the polar bears stay out even in the coldest weather. Researchers at the University of Buffalo have one, one potential answer to this: genetic adaptation related to the production of nitric oxide, a compound that cells use to help convert nutrients from food into energy or heat. Levels of nitric oxide production may be a key switch triggering how much heat or energy is produced as cells metabolize nutrients, or how much of the nutrients is stored as fats. The generation of nitric oxide appears to be an important player in these processes. It is a 2 nitrogen and 1 oxygen bond. These molecules are used to trigger the whole mitochondrial biogenesis process. The mitochondria in an organelle that turns ATP into energy that the cell can use. The nitric oxide helps produce more energy for the polar bear, which helps with keeping their body at the heat level that they want it. According to the article, genetics help Arctic polar bears survive in the winter without hibernation. Polar bears are not evenly distributed throughout the Arctic, nor they are comprised of a single nomadic consumption population, but rather occur in 19 relatively discrete subpopulations. Due to very restricted data in Russian Arctic and neighboring areas, there is an uncertainty about the subpopulation. Polar bears are found throughout the Arctic region surrounding the North Pole. They have been seen as far south as the tips of Greenland and Iceland, and during the winter they are found along the southern edge of the ice pack or north edge ice formed by the coasts of the continents. Polar bears are very mobile and will travel as far south as 1,000 kilometers as the ice melts and freezes. During the summer, the polar bear tends to remain on islands or coastlines with land-fast ice. They're also found drifting on ice floes or stranded on land where they are forced to endure warm weather. Polar bears need a platform of sea ice to reach their prey, ringed and bearded seals. But not all seals, not all sea ice is equal. Some areas ice lies over regions will melt sooner than others in a warming climate. Life in the Tundra is an article I found online, and it stated that an ecosystem is a physically distinct self-supporting unit of interacting organisms and their surrounding environment. It is made up of biotic and abiotic. The major abiotic factors that affect polar bears are the cold, snow, and water. The the extreme cold in the Arctic region that the polar bear inhabit means that it has to adapt in several ways. Meteorology abiotic factors. Arctic temperatures range from 50 degrees Fahrenheit in summer to negative 22 degrees Fahrenheit in minutes. Winter has little to no sunlight. Year precipitation mostly is snowfall and frost. Ranges between 60 and 125 centimeters. Surface winds can go 60 kilometers per hour and blow building snow. To maintain adequate constant body heat in these conditions, polar bears have evolved double layers of white fur, small tail and ears, and shelter digging and muzzle covering behaviors. Water-related abiotic factors. Polar bears seasonally between the Arctic Ocean's shores and pack of sea ice. Free fresh water is markedly rare in these places, but eating snow and ice is not energy efficient. Polar bears have evolved other strategies for extracting and conserving water. They prefer blubber over tissue muscle tissue because their body derive water from the metabolic breakdown of fat. Their urine is very concentrated. Pregnant polar bears minimize their water need, hibernation, and dance. Polar bears have other adaptations to water-related abiotic factors, including their swimming and diving abilities when under keen underwater vision, buoyant fat layers, and broad paws suited to walking and running in the snow.